The topic for today's discussion is elements of visual perception. Yes, when we come into the block diagram of visual perception, we have the direct method where the real world signal is the input and it's moved on to the environment where you have a subsensory system. With that, a nerve is recognized and it's given to the brain for the visual perception. The second is with the help of capturing, where the real world signal is the input which is captured by the environment again. But instead of the human body working, it is supposed to be a capture device which captures the image and it's sent in for a post processing. Let us see the relative importance of each sense organ inside a body. The percentage of neurons in brain devoted to each sense are: the first is vision 30%, touch 8%, hearing 2%, smell and taste less than 1%. Over 60% of brain is involved with vision in some way or the other. So this is how human visual system works. You see the object and it's captured in both by your right and left eye. Then it moves on to your brain, you think, and then you visualize the system. So moving into the human eye, this figure shows a horizontal cross section of a human eye. The eye is spherical in shape with an average diameter of approximately 20 millimeter, and there are three membranes in a human eye. They are the cornea, which is the outer cover, the choroid, and the retina. So giving a clear picture, the eye is slightly asymmetrical globe about an inch in diameter. The front part includes iris, which is the colored part, cornea, a clear dome over the iris, pupil, the black circular opening in the iris that lets the light inside, sclera, the white of your eye, conjunctiva, a thin layer of tissue that covers the entire front of your eye except the cornea. Just behind the iris and the pupil lies the lens, which helps to focus light on the back of your eye. You can have a picture of your eye. So as I just tell you, you can have a look with the visual image of your eye. Most of the eye is filled with a clear gel called as the vitreous. The light projects through your pupil and lens to back of the eye. The inside lining of the eye is covered by a special light sensing cells that are collectively called the retina. It converts light into electrical impulses. Behind the eye, your optic nerve carries these pulses to the brain. The macula, a small extra sensitive area in the retina, gives you the central vision. Eye color is created by the amount and type of pigment in your iris. Multiple genes inherited from each parent determine a person's eye color. So here you want to see about the retina, innermost membrane of the eye, which lines inside the walls of the entire posterior portion. When the eye is properly focused, light from an object outside the eye is imaged on the retina. It consists of two photoreceptors. The receptors are cones and rods as shown in the diagram. Now about the cones, these are 6 to 7 million in number and are shorter and thicker. These are located primarily in the central portion of the retina called the fova. They are highly sensitive to color. Each is connected to its own nerve end and thus the human can resolve fine details. Cone vision is called phototopic or the bright light vision. The rods, these are 75 to 150 million in number and are relatively long and thin. These are distributed over the retina surface. Several rods are connected to a single nerve end to reduce the amount of detail discernible. Serve to give a general overall picture of the field of view. These are sensitive to low levels of illumination. Rod vision is called scotopic or dim light vision. When you look into a graph here, we have rods and cones which is placed with the help of the angle and the number of receptors per square millimeter. Now you have a center region or the region where nothing takes place, which is called as the blind spot. It's shown with the help of arrow in the diagram. Now the absence of receptors in the retina is called as blind spot. The receptor intensity is measured in degrees from the fovea. Cones are most dense in the center of the retina, and rods increase in density from the center out to approximate 20 degree of axis and then decrease in density out to the extreme periphery of the retina. This diagram tells you the sensitivity of both cones and rods, where the graph is plotted between the wavelength of light in nanometer to the retinal response, which is calculated in maximum percentage. Moving on to the image formation in an eye. The principal difference between the lens of an eye and an ordinary optical lens is that the human eye provides more flexibility than to the optical lens. The radius curvature of the external surface of the lens is greater than the radius of the posterior surface. The shape of the lens is controlled by the tension in fibers of the ciliary body. So image formation in a human eye can be calculated by maximum size of an image divided by distance is equal to x divided by retinal surface flexible variation. By rearranging the equation, we can change both LHS as well as RHS according to our calculation. And when we look into the diagram, the object height is 15 mm, which is the maximum size of the image, and 100 mm is the distance which is traveled, and 17 mm is retinal surface flexible variation. So with this, x divided by 17 is equal to 15 divided by 100. So hence x is equal to 2.55 mm. So this is how you calculate an image formation in a human eye. So the brightness adaptation, we have subjective brightness, which is defined as the intensity as preserved by a human visual system, which is also known as HVS. Brightness adaptation means the HVS can operate only from a scotopic to glare limit. It cannot operate over the range simultaneously. And this diagram is plotted between the log and the subjective brightness to tell how it gets adapted to the scotopic as well as your photopic ranges. Now from the diagram it is seen that the brightness is a logarithmic function of light intensity. BA is the brightness adaptation level, and below BA the shades of colors cannot be discriminated by an eye. Contrast sensitivity means the ability of an eye to discriminate between changes in brightness at any specific adaptation level is of considerable interest. So moving on to Weber's ratio, the ratio of increment of illumination to background of illumination is called as Weber's ratio, that is del IC divided by I. The ability of an eye to discriminate the changes in brightness to any specific adaptation level is of considerable interest. Now this is how in Weber's ratio is calculated, where del IC divided by I. I is an uniform illumination of a flat area large enough to occupy the entire field of view. Del IC is the change in object brightness required to just distinguish the object from background. Now the last graph tells you the plot between the level illumination and the discrimination, and the illumination of both rods as well as cones respectively. Now there are few important definitions that are to be known. The first is the Mach band. Mach bands are an optical illusion consisting of an image of two white bands, one light and one dark side, separated by a narrow strip with a light to dark gradient. Thus, the Mach band effect means that the intensity of the stripes is constant. Therefore, it preserves the brightness pattern near the boundaries, and these bands are called as Mach band. The next is simultaneous contrast. Two colors side by side interact with one another and change our perception accordingly. The effect of this interaction is called as simultaneous contrast. So here all the inner squares have the same intensity, but they appear progressively brighter as the background becomes lighter. So with this we have come to the end of visual perception. Thank you.